Welcome to Type C Tech Reviews. Today we're going to be unboxing and checking out the Sony X85K. If at any point during the video you want to check out this exact same TV, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links. But let's get this thing open. The X85K comes in at a slightly higher price point of the TVs we've been reviewing recently, which is the Hisense U7K, the TCL Q7, and the Vizio Quantum Pro behind me. This one is around $200 more across the board for the sizes. And for that money, well, let's see if it's better today just from an initial impressions. Full review coming in a few days. All right, so getting this top open, looks like we have the one piece of the stand. That is a very attractive looking stand. I believe this is plastic with a metal core, so all of this is metal right here, but this does have a cool sheen and design on it, so looks nice. And then on the other side, we have the other one. All right, so these are the stands. Very attractive looking. I like it, looks premium. Then in here, we have a setup guide that is wrapped around, looks like the power cord, and then looks like some cable management clips right there, and some screws for the stand, and then you get the manual, I think, in there. So that's cool. Very interesting little bag for just a few things. We also do have the two AAA batteries for the remote. And then lastly, we do have the remote, which this time I'm very excited about this and happy about it. This is actually a very cheap feeling remote. Yeah, this feels super, super cheap, but it's Google TV, and this does not feel premium at all, especially for being $200 more than all the competition. But Google TV on this Sony rather than their system, which I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I have a TV upstairs that I use in one of my rooms that is a Sony with like its own or its LG system. Not good. I don't like it at all. But yeah, so this one, the back feels pretty cheap, honestly. I'm surprised, but let's get the batteries in there, see if it makes it feel any heavier. Stick those bad boys in. Yeah, it adds a little bit of weight, but overall, the buttons feel good. Buttons feel actually great, but it just looks and feels a little cheap in the hands. So a little disappointing, but let's get to the panel itself. All right, lifting off the top here, this comes out, and then I think I should just be able to pull this out. This is only a 50-inch, I believe. Ooh, that is heavy. Oh, very heavy for a 50-inch, I will say that. Not a light TV at all. If you get the larger sizes, you're gonna need someone to help you. Okay, but with that, let's get this plastic off. And look at that interesting packaging here. This is usually not attached to the TV, but here it is. And then we're gonna leave that on until we get the actual stand on. If you guys watch a lot of my videos, you know my pillow technique. You take them, you pull it up, and you put two pillows underneath. Two pillows might be overkill for this size of TV. Then that gives you easy access to put your stands on. So we got a couple cool things here. We can see here, these look like the speakers, and those look like actual speakers. So we will be testing out the speakers, see if the integrated ones are better. This looks like it's for the sub or a small sub, and then the speaker itself. Very cool. Interesting inlet here too. Let's try putting these in. I think this one goes in this way, and that slides in like that. Very cool. And this side, wow, that feels cool. Now you can see here, these are the mounting brackets. If you want to do like a VESA mount, these are like little mounting brackets. So you have those if you need them. I believe for the stand, and I'm gonna double check by checking out the manual, but I believe you actually don't need to screw these in. Those just like bottom out and then they stay like that. They shouldn't come out that easily, but that's interesting. All right guys, so yeah, I just double checked the manual just to be safe, and yeah, you just stick these in just like this, and then that's it, you're done. There's no screwing in or anything. They just get held there. Very cool, I like it. All right, and getting this on the stand, this isn't too bad with two people. Very cool with the, oh, and there we see it pops in when it drops. Very interesting. All right guys, with it up here, let's take off all of this plastic now. There we go guys, now I'm gonna plug it in with the power cord. All right, so we got ports on this side and then power should be on this side. And it's tucked in behind, not on the side. Not quite as easy access, but not a huge deal. All right, come check out the ports. All right, so we got two HDMIs, look like those are only 2.0 bandwidth. And then we have two HDMI 2.1s with that 4K 120 hertz. This one is the eARC, this one is non-eARC. So you do have those two 2.1s, which I like. Ethernet, cable down here, AV in, optical audio, two USBs, which I like a lot. Then you got those 3.5mm connections. But guys, with that, let's get this thing turned on, see how it is. There we go, came on really quickly, I will say. We're just gonna go through the process. We'll set up Google TV. Now, if you have never used a Google TV, they all get set up the same way. You go into the Google Home app, you put in the code or you do the little QR code and you basically just sign into your Google account and choose what apps you want. It's fairly easy and basic to understand. All right, doing the QR code, there we go. And then you really just go through the setup process on your phone which does make it a little bit nicer, but yeah, pretty easy overall. All right, guys, one last thing to show you before we actually get to the TV is these little cable management clips. So let's pop these suckers open, and these are those clips, which then you have a little tab for, that then open up like that, and then you put your things in there and they clip together. That's pretty cool. So let's install these really quick. So we're gonna go in here and then clip them around. I think that's where they go. Or no, it goes the other way. It actually goes like this. And then those clip in like that. Okay, that makes sense. And then we're gonna take this, put that in, and then you got your little cable management. Cool, I like it. All right, guys, now the Google setup is finished, actually pretty fast on this TV specifically. Let's get this started. It actually lets you choose if you want to keep power saving on or off, which I do really appreciate because many manufacturers just keep it on right from the jump. We're not setting up a cable box or anything like that, so we're gonna skip that for now, but if you were gonna do that, well, you would do it there. We have the PS5, so I'm just gonna turn it on right now, and there we go. PS5 automatically does it, that's sweet. All right, now you either choose if it's wall mounted or stand mounted. This is probably for the speakers, so we're gonna do tabletop stand. And then yeah, like I thought, this is gonna do like an acoustic calibration, I think. I'm just gonna bend down here. This is typically where I sit, pretty much right in the middle. And then we're gonna select start. And there we go. Calibration complete. That's a little bit weird, but it's a very cool feature. A lot of TVs do have that. That's not special to this TV. In fact, I think most Google TVs, that might be built into Google TV actually. All right, and setup is complete. Let's go. One interesting thing is this TV didn't need to update, which is a very nice thing. Most TVs need to update. And this one, I guess, came fully up to date, which is super nice. And now it's just gonna be installing the apps that I selected during the setup process. You can get all of them like Netflix, YouTube, Spotify, all of those. You can get those apps installed. So that's what it's installing now. All right, guys, and with that, all the apps are installed. Let's get into it. And there we go. Got my Google account already up there. I don't remember watching Survivor. Oh, okay, that's live. But we've got all of our apps here that we want to go through. It even has my continue watching for YouTube here. And the system is super fast, no lag pretty much. Super, super fluid. I love Google TV. It's my favorite. You guys have heard me say it. Let's go to YouTube though and see how this picture looks. Now, I do believe that this is using a VA or vertical alignment panel, not an IPS panel or an OLED, obviously. And so what that means is we're not gonna get great viewing angles. It does wash out a little bit looking at the image. This is going to be the best image that you're going to get. And another interesting thing, which is kind of weird as this is in a higher price point of the TCL Q7 and the Hisense U7K, is that this actually does not have any local dimming and only uses its native contrast. So that's a little bit odd. We'll see if it's worth it though by the end of the video. Hopefully I'm going to be kind of bending down in the middle just to make sure I get the best image quality. That's very pretty. Let's go right into these settings though and make sure we're in standard right now. There's vivid, standard. Let's go into the actual picture settings though, and we're gonna go in, make sure that light sensor is off. We do not want the light sensor on. We'll go into brightness and turn that brightness all the way up. The brightness does very, very little, or it takes a while. Is it lagged? Okay, so not as bright as the competition. I can tell you that right now. Still nice and bright. I'm not getting a lot of reflections here, so that is good. We can adjust gamma, those algorithms for contrast enhancement and things like that. You also have color temperature here, which we can change from cool, neutral to warm. And then we have different levels. We're just gonna leave that in neutral right now. But yeah, overall, not a super bright picture, but a nice and vibrant picture with colors at least, but definitely lagging behind the competition at a lower price point without local dimming and without quite that same brightness. I can tell you right now, without even testing, this is definitely not as bright. Probably about 100 to 150, maybe 200 nits at the top end differences here, just in SDR. Again, not testing. These are just what I'm assuming. We'll see in the full review coming in a few days. But I can tell you right now, from this position where I am standing with the TV, it just doesn't look good. That's gonna be the same with the other ones, the Q7 and the Hisense U7K, because they're just VA panels. This gets more vibrant again, this gets more pretty, so the viewing angles are just what you're gonna get with a VA panel. Now, me personally, I would take an IPS panel with local dimming over a VA panel without local dimming. And the reason is a VA panel can get extremely deep blacks when you have local dimming with it. The TCL Q7 was doing 80,000 to 1 contrast ratio. That's very deep inky blacks. This is never gonna give that to you, even though this is a VA panel and it has that natively better contrast ratio. But On the other side of it, if you are a perfectionist, this is probably going to give you a lot better quality of image, even though it's not going to be as deep of blacks. But that's enough talking. It's a pretty panel, no questions about it. It's got a decent brightness. It's good in fairly bright rooms, and the colors look great, but let's see how it games, because that's pretty much all my initial impressions. Let's test out the audio really quick before we get into that. All right, I'm gonna start this at 10% volume. We'll turn it up to 20. Yeah, pretty decent. Let's turn it up to 30. Very good clarity. If you're going to use this just to listen to movies, definitely an upgrade from all the rest of the competition. Let's turn it up to 50. Yeah, these are very good for integrated speakers. Pretty impressive. We're gonna turn it all the way up now. That's pretty loud, decently loud, yeah. Overall, they are very good integrated speakers, but at the end of the day, I would never buy a TV because of the integrated speakers. I would always buy a $100, even $150 pair of bookshelf speakers that are always going to be better than any integrated speakers in a TV across the board, no matter really how much money you spend. But for integrated speakers, these are very, very good. However, it's not a place where I would really want to spend more money, especially not $200 more over the competition, but we'll see. With that, let's turn on the PS5 and see how this thing games. All right, we're gonna see if the PS5 automatically connects, so I'm going to turn it on now. And yeah, there we go. Looks like it's automatically connecting to the PS5. That's sweet. I love it when it does that. All right, so we can see here, if I use the 1, 2, 3 button, then we'll have a bunch of gaming settings, which is actually very cool. All right, so now that we're in here, I'm gonna click that 1, 2, 3 button. And so this is gonna bring up all of our stuff. Like we can turn variable refresh rate on. Now variable refresh rate is on, that's sweet. We have a reduced motion blur and things like that, which obviously variable refresh rate cannot be on with because, well, that would remove the entire concept and just the way that they do reduce motion blur settings. But a lot of stuff, we even have crosshairs here, which is very cool. You can add a crosshair to the center of the screen. If you can see that crosshair that is up, you can see the crosshair. You can turn that on or off, so that's kind of cool to cheat a little bit. And then we have a different crosshair type, so that's kind of cool. But this obviously does 4K, 120 Hertz, variable refresh rate, HDR, everything with your PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. But with that, let's hop in and do some gaming. Now, hopping right in, I do believe this has auto low latency mode on already, so that's pretty cool. I will say, just like the Q7 and the U7K, you can pretty much immediately tell the input lag on this is very low. This is to be expected here. This is a little bit more of a drab map, but very, very good in terms of its picture quality. Like, it's impressively good. Now, even in here, where it displays those darker tones, closer to black, it is impressive. I would be willing to bet the black uniformity here is pretty dang good, but again, that would be expected from a VA panel, especially one that doesn't have local dimming. You would want that to at least be good. But yeah, the picture quality here is really, really good. Everything is very crisp. The colors look great. This also does look a lot more, just from a visual perspective, this looks a little bit more accurate, but again, I haven't tested that, so that's really just a visual perspective, which, I mean, let's be real, we don't actually know unless we're doing tests here. But yeah, the input lag really, really low. As far as just visually looking with ghosting without doing testing, this looks quite fast, especially for a VA panel, that's very good. So I'm not getting a lot of ghosting. I did get some ghosting on the Hisense U7K, which I did talk about, and I can tell you for sure this is better than that. A really enjoyable gaming experience overall. I mean, this is a very nice TV, it really is. Is it better than the competition? We'll have to see. Personally, this would be a hard sell for me, just in the fact that it doesn't have things like local dimming, and with the competition getting so good recently, this is definitely going to be a tough sell, but there's no question that this is a very high quality TV for the price point. However, it just lacks some features in my opinion. We'll have to see though. All right guys, but that's enough gaming. Overall, I really like this TV, but again, it's all gonna come down to value and if it's worth spending a little bit more money for maybe a more polished TV, because I would say this is definitely more polished in a lot of its areas, but not that much when compared to TCL and Hisense especially. Vizio, definitely this one leads over it, but Vizio also leads with the price here. But yeah, all right, again, if you wanna check it out, Amazon links below, full review coming in a full days with all the test results. But yeah, this is Type C Tech Reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next video.